We see green growth really as a debate about the quality of growth. How do we enhance the quality of growth and make sure that development objectives are realized in a time of global and local changes? I mean, Africa is a continent that needs to develop, has a right to development. So the priority at the moment is to overcome issues such as we need to provide energy access, we need to provide energy security, we need to provide essential infrastructure, transport infrastructure, we need to lift people out of poverty. But this needs to happen at a time when a continent is undergoing massive demographic changes. Right now Africa has 1 billion people, it will have 2.3 billion people. Urbanization processes are taking place. And there's an increasing pressure from within and from outside the continent and Africa's natural resources. On top of that, you have existing disaster risk, and then climate change adds an additional challenge. So the question becomes, how do we ensure that the continent indeed develops, that progress is sustainable, that Africa's livelihoods benefit widely from growth? So it's not narrowly focused, but it touches on all segments of society in that time of change. So the way we see green growth then is to empower African countries to realize their development objectives and growth targets while seeking to maximize the natural resource use efficiency, minimizing waste and pollution, building resilience of livelihoods and economic sectors.
Can growth ever really be green? If it's going to be sustainable, shouldn't you be getting away from the concept of growth?
Well, we have to acknowledge that Africa needs growth as an engine for economic development. And Africa has the right to develop, so that has to be very clear. But we also recognize that green growth cannot happen overnight. It's a transition, it's a process, an iterative process. And it needs to happen in steps. But there's an aspect of quality of growth. I mean, how do you grow? Does it really, does it meet the needs of broad different areas of society? Do you grow while you maintain your natural resource base, or while you deplete your natural resource base? And how how resilient is your growth to changes that you are facing? And it's that aspect what we are also concerned with, that the growth remains robust.
How can the concept help these talks to develop in terms of developing countries being able to understand that they can develop on perhaps a lower carbon emission pathway?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that the solutions to climate change are intrinsically linked with development and the right to develop. And we need to find ways where we identify tailored solutions for different countries to engage in this process and to develop and grow greener, so to speak. And that will mean something very different for a low-income country than for a middle-income country and for a high-income country. It's clearly that high-income countries in many ways need to decouple their growth from their global ecological footprint, while with low-income countries it's more about relative decoupling. It's meeting energy needs while finding a way to meet these and growing more efficiently in the process. But we cannot look at it separately from the basic development needs that need to be met.